Hello, everyone. My name is Sonia Johnson, and I want to welcome you to our discussion today. This topic is relatable to all of us in some way. We have either known someone who's a victim of child abuse, been accused of being a child abuser, or have worked in the field of child abuse. If you've not experienced any of these situations, I know you can still benefit from the information we will share today. Our goal is to help prevent the abuse of children. So by the end of this discussion, we want our listeners to know the types of abuse children are facing locally and nationally. And we want to provide education to mothers on the abuse of children and also try to provide helpful resources on prevention if you're the abuser or if you know someone who is experiencing child abuse. So first off, I would like to introduce an expert in the field of child abuse. Her name is Vanessa Holder. She's a senior social worker with the Alabama Department of Human Resources, and she's going to give us a little bit of take on what she thinks about child abuse. So Vanessa, can you tell us about your background and what led you to work with child abuse victims?
Yes, my background is I have my bachelor's and my master's in social work from the great Alabama A&M. Um, I am a licensed social worker as of this year on the master's level. Um, what led me to child abuse? I guess because everything that I have been doing so far has been kids. It just happened. I worked for a group home straight out of college with my master's. Worked there for like 2.5 years. Then kind of did some other things, and then I got back into social services, but it was with community action. So still helping kids, because if you're helping the parent, then you're helping the kid, and it was benefiting them because kids do need lights and utilities and things of that nature. Then started working with special ed kids, and then here I am at the Department of Human Services and Resources, working for the child abuse and ongoing unit. So that's just a little bit about my background.
Okay, thank you. Well,
Mhm.
another thing here, just something relating to the topic. Can you tell us, since you're an expert in child abuse, what are the forms of child abuse? And is there a certain form of child abuse you see more often locally or even nationally?
Some forms would be neglect, physical abuse, sexual abuse, um, emotional abuse. Some people say educational neglect and medical neglect. And since I've been with the department, I can say that I've seen so far um, sexual abuse. I've seen physical. I've seen medical, because there's been babies that have failed to thrive. So, they have been removed from the home and have started to do better. I actually saw a child the other day that was a case of medical neglect that is now doing fine. And then educational neglect, Um, I've seen that mom just abandoned kids, just left them, neglect outright. No food, no going to school, no supervision whatsoever. Um, just she was nowhere to be found, and she just recently surfaced after months and months. So
Wow.
I've seen a little bit of everything so far.
That's something. I know it breaks your heart to see those types of cases. Well,
Yes.
my my research has shown me mothers are the main abusers of children. Do you agree based on your experience?
And it's probably mothers, because, not to be funny, but most of the time, where the kids at? With the mother.
It's true.
not with the father. Not to say that fathers are not a part of the kids' lives, but to be honest, most of the time the kids are with the mom. And research does show that the numbers are higher for moms, but it also shows that moms who have boyfriends, their boyfriends are abusive. A, a lot of the times, mom might be going to work, leaving the child with the boyfriend, or either she knows it, she sees it, and she might love him so much or be terrified herself of what might happen to her, or he might threaten her that he might kill the child or do harm to her, so she just turns a blind eye or something to it. But yeah, research does show, and I would have to say that it's more moms, and that's simply because most of the time when they're coming in, they're single moms.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Do you give advice or certain type of advice when you see those cases?
To moms who are the perpetrators,
Yes.
um we try to get them counseling and parenting classes and anger abuse classes and stuff like that, to try to help them, and so their kids can be safely returned home to them, because without getting them some kind of counseling and parenting and anger management classes, it wouldn't be safe to return the kids. So we recommend you going through those courses of action if you want to see the child come back home.
Gotcha. That makes perfect sense. It absolutely does. So one other thing, we wanted to discuss here, because we do know there are disparities that stand out and they do play a role in the abuse and reporting. So something that I wanted to ask you is, what role does racism, financial status, and disabilities play in relation to the reporting of child abuse victims?
I I'm gonna say this: abuse and neglect doesn't only happen in poor families or bad neighborhoods. These behaviors cross all racial and economic and cultural lines, and sometimes families who seem to have it all from the outside are hiding a different story behind closed doors. And I would have to say that if they let someone see it, I really can't say that it won't get reported, because a lot of times teachers, a child could be disabled, could come from a rich home or poor home, and if that child discloses it at school or to the right person, then it'll get reported, and we're going to go after them no matter what your status is or what color you are. It's just a matter of fact of somebody catching it, that perpetrator slipping up, or that child opening up and going and telling sometime, because sometimes perpetrators tell the kids or tell people, um, you better not tell it, or this is our secret, okay? This is our little secret. They play mind games and use all kind of tactics. So I just think no matter what your economic status is, your color, or whether you're disabled or not disabled, it really has to do with somebody else being able to witness it, or the person who's being abused opening up and telling.
Gotcha. Is there a certain age or victim age that you see more commonly?
Well, of course, it's going to be the smaller ones more so. the smaller ones because they can't talk, or they don't think nobody's gonna listen or believe, but more so because, hey, who they going to tell? Until they're big enough to be able to vocalize it and get to a school where they can tell it, or if teachers notice those bruises and stuff like that. But most of the time, I'm gonna say between 0 to 5, you're kind of vulnerable.
Got you. Got you. It's just so sad to hear, those things are going on, in this day and age. What's the youngest victim that you've had to deal with or counsel maybe recently?
Mm, well, we take babies and all, so I'm gonna say the most recent person that I have come in contact with was a set of twins, and those twins are 3, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they're 3, but there's other people that have babies, that might be on their caseload. But so far, like I said, the other day I went and checked on a set of twins, and the twins, they're not 4. I don't think they're 4. They're 3. And that's one of the kids that I was saying he failed to thrive. So he was in and out of the hospital because he failed to thrive. And he has a twin sister. Twin sister was fine, but him not so much. They were premature, and like she can talk better, he can't talk as well. So he still has problems. He has to wear glasses. Um, it's like night and day. He's little bitty and she's bigger. You wouldn't be able to tell that they were twins. And mom has none of her kids. There's 6 of them, and they're the youngest out of 6.
Wow. Wow. So is it definitely an abuse situation, or do you think, one child is favored over the other? What would you, at this point, what would you say?
Talking to the person that he's with now, mom still has no interest. She's had true neglect, like no visits to come and see them, and she can come to visits. Like she has the right to come to visits, and she chooses not to.
Hmm.
So for them, they are fixing to have a permanent mommy and daddy as soon as everything clears.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Your heart just goes out to them. So, are there some warning signs maybe? Like if I see a child, is there something that I may need to be on the lookout for to see if they're experiencing that kind of abuse?
Um, I would have to say, yeah, you can see stuff like marks, like bruises and things like that. Um, and even maybe a child that's real young that's displaying some sexual stuff that they should not be, doing or know anything. That might make you want to think like, has somebody touched them, or have they witnessed something? If a child is always hungry, clothes not kept up, like they're wearing the same clothes, they're smelling, hair and stuff not kept up, it could be some form of neglect where the parents aren't washing clothes and keeping them up and stuff, or not feeding them. They might only be getting meals at school or from the neighbors or whoever will feed them. If you always see a child by themselves, but they can never tell you where mom or dad is at when you're questioning, like, where your mama, where your daddy, like, that should make you think maybe they're being left by themselves to fend for themselves.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That that would definitely bring a cause of concern, but at least that allows our listeners to know, like, hey,